I'm Rob Trzcinski. I'm running for Congress in the current 5th and possible future 6th district in Virginia. Today, April 2nd, is exactly 1 year since Trump announced his so-called Liberation Day tariffs, massive and completely arbitrary taxes on trade. I say completely arbitrary because he announced a formula for tariffs so crude and mindless that he ended up slapping tariffs on the Heard and McDonald Islands. These are remote Antarctic territories of Australia where nobody lives except a giant colony of penguins. So Trump, in his infinite wisdom, tariffed the penguins. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So what was the result of Liberation Day? Well, Trump said he did it to bring manufacturing jobs back to America. The actual result, a year later, there are about 100,000 fewer manufacturing jobs in America than there were last year. He said he was going to do it, well, take your pick. He was going to use tariffs to replace income taxes, replace them completely, or to pay down the federal debt, or to give us all a rebate stimulus check, or all of these things at once. Now, none of these things actually happened. And tariffs were going to make America more prosperous. Without all that evil foreign competition, we were going to have better jobs and better pay, and life would be more affordable. And yeah, that didn't happen either. Some of the people who got hit worse by the tariffs were farmers, which is very relevant to this district, a rural and agricultural district, no matter how you set the borders of it. Farmers saw their overseas markets for some of their crops disappear because of the trade war. And at the same time, the cost of some of their equipment and materials went up. So they didn't get helped by Trump either. But what did happen? It took almost a year, but it did happen, is the Supreme Court eventually ruled that the tariffs were unconstitutional, that Trump had no legal authority to impose them. So what did he do? He mostly reimposed the tariffs using a different illegal and unconstitutional authority for it, and sort of daring us to drag that out through the courts for another 9 months. And in the meantime, he refused to pay back any of the unconstitutional tariff money that he made people pay. And if you know history, Trump's history as a businessman, you know he has a long history of not paying people what he owes them. Now, this isn't the only way Donald Trump has messed up the economy. More recently, he messed it up by starting a war in Iran purely on his own authority, without any planning and without consulting anybody else, which has had the result of cutting off oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz off the coast of Iran. And that's driving gasoline prices through the roof, and diesel prices, which affects truckers and shippers and farmers, and the supply of fertilizers. Some of fertilizers are made from oil products, and that the price of fertilizers is really hitting farmers hard, just as we're about to reach spring planting season. But notice that these two disasters have the same root cause. Tariffs and war are things that are supposed to be decided by Congress. It's right there in the Constitution. The power to impose tariffs, to declare war, are very explicitly and exclusively, right there in Article 1, given to Congress. But Trump did them on his own, by his own say-so, without making the slightest effort to get congressional approval, and he's still trying to keep Congress completely out of the loop on these issues, and on every issue, really. And what this really means is that Donald Trump is imposing his preferences on us without asking the permission of the American people and the American people's representatives in Congress. So the question is, who's going to liberate us from Liberation Day? The answer is that Congress has to liberate us. They're the only ones who can. They need to rein in an out-of-control president and take back the power they have in the Constitution. Everything that's happening is possible. All the chaos, all the high prices, all the uncertainty, all of it is only possible because Congress isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And that's what I'm promising to fix if I'm elected, to restore the power of Congress and give people a voice again in the big policies that impact our lives. And that's what I'm asking you to vote for.